Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Clay County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, June 2nd. So we have a called meeting to order. Is there approval of the agenda today?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. We have a number of recognitions today. Thank you. So for employee recognitions today, first one goes to Tara Audit of Adet, I suppose, and part of public health. And Sue, I think, is going to come up also. Hi, Tara. Thank you. This is in recognition of your 15 years of service.
Thanks.
Next, we have Jacob Baumgartner, 15 years of juvenile detention. In recognition of your 15 years of service, and thank you from the board for all you do.
Do you have the leases next, or? Yeah, Jake began as a part-time staff member, then became a full-time staff member, and then he helped develop our residential program to where it stands out in the state. He was the case manager there for many years, and now he's the supervisor of our new transition program. Jake he's very intelligent, and his social emotional intelligence is top-notch. He's able to connect with the youth and staff and make some good memories and stuff for the staffs and kids. So, yeah, congratulations. Thanks, Jake.
Next, we'll have Elise Dallin, 15 years in juvenile detention. In appreciation of your service, appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is actually the third one. Jake's was the second, this is the third one. We don't get people that last and stick around too long over there, so this is pretty exciting that we have two in one day, and it's been a long time coming. But yeah, Elise started here as an intern, and then she was part-time, and then full-time, and then she got a lead counselor position, and that now she is the supervisor of our secure detention unit. Our secure detention unit is our cornerstone unit, and that's where we get a lot of the most difficult cases. She's seen a lot in her 15 years. Things continue to change as, again, facilities keep getting closed down across the state, including East Bethel last month here, is causing a bigger crunch, and a lot of those youth end up on her door. A lot of times they're untreated, and they have a lot of issues. She's very flexible. She leads her staff to be flexible, to respond to the needs of the youth, and that's where we are. Basically, with Jake and the Juvenile Center, we're just a building. We got people, and policies change. We've changed a lot over the years, continue to change. We're going to continue to change in the future. But the one constant we have is good people like Jake and Elise and our staff over there that makes it successful. So thank you.
Next, we have Jane Robernatz, Social Services, for 15 years. Thank you. Recognition of the award.
All right. Today I have the privilege of recognizing someone who's celebrating 15 years of service, Jane. Many people know Jane as our specialized eligibility worker who manages our 4E caseload, but that title only scratches the surface of what she does every day. Jane works closely with CPS, probation, judges, attorneys, foster care providers, and countless others to ensure the placements are handled correctly and that the financial and eligibility pieces supporting those placements are in place. It's work that requires an incredible amount of knowledge, attention to detail, and persistence, and Jane brings all three in abundance. Over the past several months, I've had the opportunity to work more closely with Jane and learn more about her role. Every conversation leaves me amazed. She keeps track of details that most of us didn't even know existed, and somehow she can recall them at exactly the right moment. There have been more than a few times when I've walked away thinking, how does she keep this all straight? What stands out even more than her knowledge is her passion. Jane genuinely cares about doing the job right because she knows the work matters. Behind every case is a child, a youth, or a family, depending on us to get things right, and Jane never loses sight of that. One unique thing about Jane is that she works on the 5th floor alongside the social workers so she can stay close to the action. While that sometimes means she misses out on some of the day-to-day happenings with her eligibility coworkers, it has also earned her a special distinction. I like to think she has 2 work families. She's part of our eligibility team, but she is also very much a part of the CPS team. And if we're being honest, I think both groups would be a little lost without her knowledge, guidance, and willingness to help. She's become one of those people everyone turns to when they need an answer, and fortunately for all of us, she usually has one. Outside of work, Jane enjoys riding a motorcycle with her husband and has a special appreciation for Highland cows. In some ways, that combination makes perfect sense. She can spend her free time riding down the open road, but when she gets back to work, she's as dependable and steady as one of her favorite Highland cows, just with considerably less hair. And much like a motorcycle rider navigating miles of winding roads, Jane has spent the last 15 years expertly navigating complex systems, changing regulations, court processes, and countless cases, always keeping her focused on the people we serve. Jane, thank you for your dedication, your expertise, your compassion, and the countless ways you've supported both your coworkers, the youth, and the families of Clay County.
Our next is 25 years with Ryan Carey. Sure. Hey, Ryan. Yeah, congratulations.
All right, congratulations, Ryan. Thank you for your 25 years of service. Ryan has been here. When he started as a patrol deputy, and during that time, he was one of our K-9 officers. Now he works in our court security division, and he has become a rather valuable asset in court security, not only for those that work in this building, but also for the visitors that come here each and every day. So he's been very knowledgeable in that position, and I know he's helped our new supervisors that come into that role, Colin. And he's just done very well and has excelled in the role. So your first 25 years went relatively quick, I assume, so the next 25 years maybe slow down, but we look forward to that.
Steve, are you in coming? Huh? Oh, okay. Very good. Next, I'd like to present 25 years for Sheriff Mark Empton. Yeah, thank you for all you do. Steve's got a couple words.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. No, seriously.
We all get a turn?
Today we're here to recognize Sheriff Mark Empting for his 25 years of dedicated public service with the Clay County Sheriff's Department. Throughout his career, Sheriff Empting has exemplified servant leadership, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of Clay County residents. His career reflects a steady progression of earned trust, increasing responsibility, and a dedication to serving both the department and the community. Over the course of his service, Sheriff Empting has advanced through the ranks of the Sheriff's Department, serving as both a deputy, sergeant, lieutenant, and assuming additional responsibilities and leadership roles that ultimately led him to the election of sheriff in 2018. His leadership has been marked by integrity, accountability, and commitment to excellence in public safety. In addition to his service with the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Empting has devoted multiple decades to the Dilworth Fire Department, further demonstrating his commitment to protect and serve the community. His willingness to service multiple public safety capacities reflects the dedication, selflessness, and sense of duty that has defined his career. Sheriff Empting's contribution have strengthened public safety, enhanced community trust, and positively impacted countless residents throughout Clay County and the surrounding regions. Yet those who know him best understand that he is quick to deflect personal accolades, instead directing praise to the dedicated women and men in brown who serve alongside him every day and who are here, many of them here tonight, this afternoon or morning. Instead of directing praise, his leadership has always been rooted in teamwork, recognizing the successes of the Sheriff's Department that are built on professionalism, commitment, sacrifices of its deputies, corrections officers, and support staff. On behalf of Clay County, we extend our gratitude and congratulations to Sheriff Mark Empting and thank him for his 25 years of distinguished service to the citizens of Clay County.
And just a big thank you to all of you for your commitment and all that you do for the county, and thanks from the whole board. We'll continue with our agenda. Are there any citizens to be heard? We have one in the crowd back there. Anybody online, Steve?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. We'll move on. Approval of payment of bills and vouchers.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of payment of bills and vouchers.
Motion
second
by
that.
Commissioner Ebinger, second by Commissioner Bear. Any discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Then we have our approval of minutes for May 19th, 2026.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the minutes for May 19th, 2026.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Campbell seconds. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? Motion passes. And we have no agenda, motion items ahead of us, so we'll move on to our committee reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Ebinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week on Tuesday, the 26th, myself and Commissioner Campbell attended the Red River Regional Dispatch Center Board of Authority meeting. Which I will find in just a minute. We had executive committee update from Sheriff Joyner, talked about a law enforcement response that they had involving a need, which identified a need for notification of child care facilities and areas during emergency lockdowns, and private schools be included in the call out on responses that require notification for school lockdowns. And that's being worked on right now to get the data into the system at RRDC so that they'll be able to do that when a lockdown is called for. They also had come up with a procedure now from officer-initiated medical calls. There's been a little confusion on who responds. Do they notify the fire department and the ambulance services or what? And they've now got a policy they're working on where when officers initiate a call for medical assistance, local fire departments will be notified. They're also working on a program right now to use the old dispatch center up on NP as a office space for emergency management. This isn't done yet, but it's being worked on right now to bring emergency managers all around the service area of RRDC into one office environment where they can communicate. Plus, having people come into that facility on a regular basis will be good for security of the equipment that's there. We had a very long discussion involving budget submission for the 2027 budget, which is something that's still under discussion both with the authority board and the executive board, and there'll be developments to come. On Wednesday, the 27th, I attended the Diversion Authority Finance Committee meeting remotely. It was just general business. We approved some contract actions and MOU agreements and got an update on the budget. The following day, on the 28th, I attended the Diversion Authority Board of Authority meeting. Had a Minnesota legislative update. It was a partial funding of our request on the Minnesota side came from the state legislature. We appreciate what we could get. Appreciate the efforts that we had. Commissioner Krabanoff, Commissioner Mojo, our lobbyist, and the executive director of the Diversion Authority all went up to the Capitol and did some good work for us on that. General counsel update. And had the regular project update. And we had a closed executive session regarding some discussion on crop loss claims and potential litigation out of that. And that completes my report.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you. May 26th, I also attended the Red River Regional Dispatch Center board meeting. I really don't have anything to add to the report that Commissioner Ebinger gave on that. Wednesday, the 27th, I attended the Prairie Lake Solid Waste Authority meeting in Perham. And we went through the normal business expenditures and that type of thing. We're about even with last year in terms of our operating cash that we have. Our internal service fund was drawn down by about $200,000, but that was anticipated for the equipment that needed to be purchased. We continue to stay right around that 100 tons shy of our deliveries, and that's because they're still allowing Wadena County to catch up. We had significant discussion about what is that plant's true capacity. I don't believe, no, none of you were on the board at the time, but when Clay County, and this is kind of important historical information down the road, when we were originally presented to be partners in that organization, at that time we were told that that facility could handle 62,500 tons. And so when we bought in at 15%, then that is how we equated that our share of the annual deliveries was 9,400 tons. Well, obviously, since that, and then of course on that 9,400 tons, the first 6,000 was a trade with Prairie Lakes and Clay County for bringing the fines to the landfill. So in essence, we pay 3,000. We were to pay 3,400 tons. That was our share, and at 100 and $60 a ton now, you just do the math, it's expensive. Well, then when we determined that, we're only able to process 5,400 tons, you do the math on that, and at 15% of that comes down to like 8,200 or something like that. So that's our new number. There were some who still felt that we should still be responsible for 9,600 for the budget purposes. And I argued that and was successful in that argument. So it's just for the future, when they, because the original contract said 9,600 tons, but it was based on. So in the future, there might be future boards that saying, well, the contract says Clay County has to pay 9,600 tons. Well, they can't forget the rest of the story, right? And the rest of the story was that was based on a different total. Then we had the ash management. As you know, I've reported that ash landfill is just about full. We've been able to, I think we send about 8,000 tons there a year, 8,000 to 10,000 tons of ash to that. And we're down to like 1 or 2 years left. But the last 2 years now, we've been able to clean 6,000 tons of that ash and use it on road projects. One was in Wadena County, and the current one is going to be in Becker County this summer. But along with that, Prairie Lakes, and I think our board here even also supported legislation in the bonding bill, and Otter Tail County was awarded $7.367 million in the bonding bill for the combination of the ash plant and a new transfer station. They want to move their transfer station on that same property. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have to determine what portion of that bonding bill is going to be for the transfer station and what portion is going to be directly related to the ash plant. And everybody's in agreement that we don't foresee that to be a problem at all. Of course, like any of the bonding dollars, it's on a 50-50 cost share basis. So that was, overall, that was good news. We've been meeting with the highway engineers, and primarily Justin Sorum has been a really good source for Chris McCon regarding the odor and metal recovery out of the ash for roads. I think Justin's been a really good source of information for them, because ultimately we'd like to be able to get that ash that it's a level where MnDOT might have an interest in it. Then, of course, that would open up to many more opportunities to reclaim that ash landfill. We had some discussion about a local road improvement grant application that was at this time not successful. They just did a stack testing on there. We haven't gotten the reports on that. That concludes that one. Then that same day, then I came back and attended the land management meeting of the Diversion Authority, and we basically dealt with authorized a couple of excess lands to move forward in the process to be up for sale to the public. Thursday, May 28th in the morning, we had our Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting. Ashley McGulkey gave a really good report and some statistics on the cleanup week. Corey gave a report on solid waste activities both at the transfer station and at the landfill. And then I reported on what I just reported on with Prairie Lake Solid Waste. That same afternoon, we had our Clay County Joint Powers Authority meeting, Morehead, Clay County. And we went through, of course, we received our property acquisition report as usual. We had an excess lands update. Legal, I think there's several properties in Wilkin County that are going through the, and a couple in Clay County still that are going through the eminent domain process to, and when we talk about that, the Diversion Authority and MCC JPA have already received all rights necessary for the lands for both the construction of the project. And so really what's left in the eminent domain process is the valuation and the sum that will need to be paid to the landowners. As there's been some disputes on what that value should be. But we are settling a few more of those, it seems, each time. I think that pretty much sums up that meeting. Then we had the Diversion Board of Authority meeting. Commissioner Ebringer reported on that. I would like to say that I had missed the previous meeting when I was given an award by the Corps of Engineers and the U.S. Army, and I was pleasantly surprised at how, I mean, that was quite the plaque. I was going to bring it today, and I forgot it, but.
I'm going to add to that. I failed to report that. That was a very important moment. Commissioner Campbell is one of 4 people that they identified with a decoration from the Army Corps of Engineers for civilians for the contribution they've made in public service. And the 4 of them, along with some folks that no longer serving in place, but a lot of folks started this thing a long time ago. I just have been riding the last 5 years. Kevin was one of the movers and shakers. And next time the red gets nasty, it's going to go in a diversion, not in crop fields and neighborhoods and businesses. And it's because of the efforts of a lot of good people that have done this for a long time. And that recognition was well-deserved. Congratulations, Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you.
And it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it's.
Medals and everything.
Yeah. Going back on that was I really appreciated that moment. And there was another one that, kind of in a really smaller detail, but it just did, when the original project partnership agreement was signed between this, then that was signed by the City of Fargo, the City of Morehead, and the Corps of Engineers. And that goes back to when the Diversion Authority was basically first established. Dennis Wallaker was still the mayor of Fargo at that time, and he was one of the signers, and I believe they had 4 or 5 copies of that original document to sign, and Mayor Wallaker signed each one with a separate pen. And he gave me one of those pens. And I think I treasure that probably more than anything else on that project. I hope that someday that they will recognize or give some recognition to that diversion based on Dennis Wallaker, similar to what Duff's Ditch is in Winnipeg. And for those of you who don't know, just look up and read about Duff's Ditch. And that's basically the diversion around Winnipeg. So anyway, that's that. And then, I was going to make sure that you didn't get by with just having the shortest meeting on the history of county.
We're far from done.
And so then we had the West Central board meeting yesterday morning. We had several things that we talked about, an awful lot of funding things are starting to fall into place, including $5 million from the bonding bill this year from the state of Minnesota, which we're thankful for. And I want to give a good shout out to Commissioner Bear. He did a fabulous job down there regarding this particular topic, especially with our legislatures, that really helped us with that 5 million, it really allows us to really advance this project and to really get a good foothold on its long-term viability. So thank you, Commissioner Bear, for your efforts in that regard. There's a couple of things going on, and maybe Steve can comment or somebody can comment on the 2024 dollars that we got. We finally got a grant agreement signed, I think, on those 2024 dollars. And so hopefully those will start to flow through pretty soon. I know Commissioner Bear might have more to add on that. There is in the 2027 EPA, we have heard that there's, right now, there's $2.68 million in for Neelsville and $3.61 into Hendrum. All those dollars, if they're successful, will also kind of flow in to this overall project that we have. Of course, I think our engineer, who's also been involved with helping establish these grant applications, the likelihood of, he thinks the likelihood might be more closer to $750,000 to $1 million for each one of them by the whole time is said and done, but it would still be money well needed and put to good use. I think I'll end it there. I know Ezra will add some more to that. That concludes my report.
Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only had one meeting. It was the West Central Regional Water District. That was yesterday that Commissioner Campbell was also at and reported on, but I'll add to it. We'll talk about the FY24 EPA grant. So that grant has been signed, and we should be starting to receive money soon on that one, and that grant was for $3.5 million. And then we have FY26 EPA grant that we received $750,000 on that. That's for Polk County. But we have not started to receive that. We do not have a grant agreement signed on that, but that one should come a lot faster than FY24 because we've already gone through this once with FY24, so that money should be coming in sooner. And that money, we are looking at putting in a larger pipe between Climax and Neelsville to bolster more water in that area. And then FY27, we have the Neelsville and the Hendrum grants on that have moved to the next level, and with that being moved to the next level, it's very likely we will receive some money. It might not be that $5 million, but we should be on the hook for some money at least, as long as they pass a budget here in October, I believe, with the feds. And then we are also looking at doing a bus tour in August with all our legislators, the local ones and the feds, to get them out to show them the project, show them a few local water plants, the project, and taking them over to the water plant that we're going to be buying into, just so they can wrap their heads around it, and so then when it comes to the next legislature season, they remember the project moving forward, and we can hopefully receive more bonding money and more EPA grants. We're looking at that tentatively for August 12th. What else? We had just project updates on the whole project with Neelsville and the Neelsville line that we should looking to engineer and to bid out at the end of the summer/fall, and the Halstead line that we're hoping to bid out by the end of summer as well, to move the water from Climax to Neelsville and from over to Halstead and cross the river to Halstead. That is pretty much everything we discussed there. Then we're also doing outreach with the cities in phase one to hopefully get signed contracts with them by the end of summer, so this whole project can be moved forward with receiving the grant dollars and the EPA dollars. This project should be steamrolling very quickly, hopefully, and get people the water that they need. So that is all I have to report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. My report, going back to Tuesday the 26th, I had a Food Commission steering committee meeting. We talked about the successes of the last commission meeting we had involving the integrating orchards into public spaces, as was given by West Fire Parks and Forestry. And then later, or toward the evening there, I went to the Moore City Council along with our Executive Director, Laura Ford. And Laura gave a great presentation to the Moore City Council regarding our 2025 report. We'll be hearing that here in a couple of weeks at this commission. On Wednesday, the 27th, I had the Historical Culture Society monthly board meeting. We had the introduction of two new board representatives at the meeting, Dan Gunderson from Moorhead and Vicki Haugen from Holly. We welcome them aboard. We also are reviewing and updating of our bylaws and our membership levels, so there was larger discussion on those two items, and that we'll get most of that summed up, I think, by next month. We also we're getting members in line to staff the Humboldt School House at the County Fair, which we're active with during those days of the fair in July. I also part of the meeting involved our non-secure facility, the strategy movement ahead. Thank you to legislators for their funding that we did receive, and that was we're doing this with our lobbyists in St. Paul with Tom and Haley with Winthrop and Weinstein. We'll be hearing from them here at this board in a couple of weeks, right? Yeah. Oh, next week? Okay. They'll come and we'll get a overall from them. And again, thank you to all the legislature for, again, the bonding dollars that we got regarding the diversion non-secure in West Central. Made for a successful session. On Thursday the 28th, I had the monthly CAP-LP meeting that involves finance committee. Things are in good standing. Federal funding is coming in as anticipated, actually in some areas even a little higher. And then Minnesota came out with some increase in housing support, so that was good that we got that as part of our session. Under the board meeting, we approved 3 grants. This group over there knows how to write grants, and they write lots of them, and 3 more came through. And we also approved as part of Head Start, which then spreads to the total staff, the approval of COLA of 2.5%, which will be starting on it's a fiscal year in July 1st of this year. And we had the introduction of a new board member. It's Paul Largren. Gullerin. I'm sorry, I said that wrong the first time, from Felton. He now serves on the Morgan Township Board. We have a position open for a elected official that was held by long-serving Lauren Ingebretson, who retired from the position. So welcome to Paul. And then we continue our work out in Holly with REACH, building up the thrift store, also elevating the rural bus routes, which are increasing at very high levels in the involvement. And that has a lot to do with the bus being stored out there, the driver out in that area, and just reaching out further and further into the rural community of Clay County. Yeah, I think that's my report. It is my report. Administrator Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the 27th, I met with Darren and Anna on a HR personnel matter. That morning or afternoon also met with the legislative update with Winthrop and Weinstein. As the chair mentioned, Tom and Haley will be here next week to provide an update on how the legislative session went and potential plan forward. participated in the MCC JPA meeting, which has been well covered. And on the 29th, participated or met with Mr. Melton on a series of county issues. On the first, participated virtually with the West Central Regional Water Board, Water District. As was mentioned by Commissioner Campbell and Commissioner Barrett, it's exciting to see that this is going to be coming to fruition this fall, the spring, and so that's great to see. Just a couple updates again. On Friday, we do have an AMC district meeting in Fergus Falls from 8 to noon. And also, we received notification from Christine Godin, the administrator of the Buffalo Red Water District, that we have 2 managers whose terms are up at the end of August this year, Mr. Van Amberg and Mr. Kurt Stubstead. They will have the ability, if they choose to resubmit for those positions, but we will be putting ads in the paper for the appointments on both June 29th and July 6th. And for those who are interested, letters of interest are due to our office by July 22nd. And then this board will conduct interviews and appointments on July 28th. So they're able to start their term by September 1st. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Darren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Most of my meetings have been covered on 5/27. Steve mentioned their meeting with the detox department head, Anna and himself. I also attended the legislative planning committee, and also that afternoon worked with the data practices group to get our data request forms squared away. On the 20th, and I'll cover that in a second. On the 28th, I also attended the SWAC, which Commissioner Campbell covered already. Had a meeting with the sheriff and chief deputy, Anna and Steve, on a EEOC and Department of Human Rights case that is ongoing right now. On Friday the 28th, worked on the data practices project and the citizens concern form. On Monday the 1st, I had a meeting with MNCCC and Improv. Also a meeting with Anna and Steve, and worked on the 2025 performance measurement program. Just a note on the data practices request in the program and the group that we've been meeting with. Quinn, Mark, Matt, Erica from Planning and Zoning, and Roy and myself have really been working hard on getting our data practices requests system in place so that we know how many are coming in, who they're going to. And so that group has really set up the process to respond to data requests and then have the follow-up as well to make sure that that loop is closed out. So that went very well, and I think we're pretty much good to go on that. We kind of did the same thing with the citizen concern form. That form was working very well, but it never had another form to say this has been completed, and so we kind of did the same thing as we did with the data practices request form, we did with the citizens concern form, and that seemed to go very well. I handed out early retirement stats for you. That program ended, well, it actually ends June 30th, but employees had until May 29th to submit their request for early retirement. What you have in front of you is the 7 people that took the early retirement. And let me explain that chart a little bit. It was very difficult to figure out what the savings were because some people left earlier, some people aren't leaving till later, or the replacements aren't maybe coming in till later in the year. I know social services, they're doing some things of moving people around. And so what I did with this chart is I took the people that took advantage of the early retirement and anticipated their wages of what they would have been in 2027 had they stayed there, and took into account para, county contribution, FICA, Medicare, and paid leave. And that total expense would have come up for those 7 people of $890,250. Then what I did is I took, if they were replaced, and if they were replaced on 1 July of this year, which is probably about right, Some will be hired earlier, some will be hired later. And then work them as they came in on that grade at step 2, and then move to step 3 in 2027. Those total wages would have been $655,947. So a savings of $234,303 minus the $67,200 that we paid out in the early retirement program, leaving a total savings of $167,103. So that's a pretty good estimate. It's not pinpointed to exactly who left and who replaced that person, because there's a lot of domino effects that happen. So I just took it in 2027, what it would have been, and then the people that we hire is taking their place. And also, the people that are leaving, they are under the grandfathered county contribution. Everybody coming in next year or this year will be under the county contribution for new employees. So there was a savings there as well. So if there's any questions on that, just thought you might be interested in what the early retirement program did for us this year.
I have one question. For the 2027 anticipated wages for new employers hired July 1st of 2026, is that for 18 months then, or is that?
Yeah, no, what it
number
is,
there.
what I took them is, if they were hired on July 1st, they would be hired at step 1. What I did was I started them at step 2, because they would get they would start 2027 at step 2. So then I took step 2 and step 3, because that's a 6-month step. So that's what those numbers reflect.
So that number reflects for 2027?
Yes,
Numbers, not the 6 months of 2026?
correct. Correct.
But, you know, when we look at this, we knew that the first year, the savings wouldn't be as great because of the payout,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But going into the second year, the savings is greater.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of did the 2027.
Right.
Because the 2026, even though all of the early retirement payments went out in 2026, I just said, okay, this is how much we paid in 2026. I applied it to the 2027, but in reality, that's being applied this year when they leave.
Another thing that this doesn't calculate, and it goes to when Quinn was here earlier, and and it's something that I actually appreciated that they did, is they looked at restructuring. They had the ability to restructure. And with that process, and this doesn't take into account that with their restructuring, they were added 2 new positions
Correct.
that they probably would have come to us and asked for anyway out of need. But they were able to do it with the savings of this, as well as still having 1 position not filled.
Correct.
So there's some other savings in there besides this and I agree with you. It's hard to make a perfect calculation of it, but I think I'm kind of surprised that we only had 7. I thought we would have.
I anticipated 10, so I was a little shy.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you.
And also, I will have to say that in my 15 years here, knowing Commissioner Campbell's heart and soul was put into that diversion project, and that's only for 15 years I've seen that. I just want to congratulate you, and that award that you got was very well deserved for the amount of work that you put into that diversion project. So just wanted to say that publicly.
Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
I appreciate it if you bring that plaque in. I'd like to see the plaque. I hope you can bring it.
Well, the plaque is really nice, but what's nicer is the medal.
Okay. Yeah,
But I'll try to remember to bring it next time.
yeah, very good. Sarah, anything? All right, any other business before we adjourn? Hearing none, we're adjourned.